This article is about the mythological figure. For the moon of Jupiter, see Io. Io was, in Greek mythology, a priestess of Hera in Argos, a mortal who was seduced by Zeus, who changed her into a heifer to escape detection. His wife Hera sent ever-watchful Argus Panoptes, with 100 eyes, to watch her, but Hermes was sent to distract the guardian and slay him. Heifer Io was loosed to roam the world, stung by a maddening gadfly sent by Hera, and wandered to Egypt, thus placing her descendant Belus in Egypt. His sons Cadmus and Danaus would then return to mainland Greece. Io's father is generally given as Attribution, a river god credited with inaugurating the worship of Hera in the countryside around Argos, thus establishing her as an autochthonous spirit of the Argolid and thus by her nature the nymph of a spring, a naiad. However, due to the Aenachid genealogy being generally confused, other versions concerning her parentage existed as well. In some accounts, she is the daughter of the Argive Iasus, who himself was given either as the son of Argus Panoptes and Ismon, the daughter of Asopus, or of Triopa and Sosis. Io's mother in the latter case was Lycaon. Io's father was called Iron in the catalogue of women, and this figure might be a son of the elder Argus, also called Pyrrhus, Peiranthus or Pyrrhasus in other sources. Io may therefore be identical to Callithe, daughter of Peiranthus, as is suggested by Hesychius of Alexandria. Another of the myths is told most anecdotally by Ovid, in Metamorphoses. According to Ovid, one day, Zeus noticed the maiden and lusted after her. As Io tells her own story in Aeschylus Prometheus Bound, she rejected his whispered nighttime advances until the oracles caused her own father to drive her out into the fields of Lerna. There, Zeus covered her with clouds to hide her from the eyes of his jealous wife, Hera, who nonetheless came to investigate. In a vain attempt to hide his crimes, Zeus turned himself into a white cloud and transformed Io into a beautiful white heifer. Hera was not fooled. She demanded the heifer as a present, and Zeus could not refuse her without arousing suspicion. Hera tethered Io to the olive tree in the temenos of her cult site, the Herin, and placed her in the charge of many-eyed Argus Panoptes to keep her separated from Zeus. Zeus commanded Hermes to kill Argus. Ovid added the detail that he lulled all 100 eyes to sleep, ultimately with the story of Pan and Syrinx. Hera then forced Io to wander the earth without rest, plagued by a gadfly to sting her into madness. Io eventually crossed the path between the Propontis and the Black Sea, which thus acquired the name Bosporus, where she met Prometheus. Prometheus had been chained on Mount Caucasus by Zeus for teaching mankind how to make fire and tricking Zeus into accepting the inferior part of the sacrifice while the mortals kept the better part. Every day, a giant eagle fed on Prometheus' liver. Despite his agony, he comforted Io with the information that she would be restored to human form and become the ancestress of the greatest of all heroes, Heracles. Io escaped across the Ionian Sea to Egypt, where she was restored to human form by Zeus. There, she gave birth to Zeus's son Epiphos, and a daughter as well, Caressa. She later married Egyptian king Telegonus. Their grandson, Danaus, eventually returned to Greece with his 50 daughters, as recalled in Aeschylus' play The Suppliants. The myth of Io must have been well known to Homer, who often calls Hermes Hermes Argiphontes, Hermes Argus Slayer. Walter Burkhardt notes that the story of Io was told in the ancient epic tradition at least 4 times, of which we have traces, in the Danaus. In the Foronese Phoronius founded the cult of Hera, according to Hyginus Fabulae 274 and 143 in a fragment of the Hesiodic Agemios, as well as in similarly fragmentary Hesiodic catalogue of women. A mourning commemoration of Io was observed at the Herin of Argos into classical times. The mythic events concerning Io were transplanted, no doubt by colonists from Argos, to various far-flung sites in the Hellenic world. The ancients connected Io with the moon, and in Aeschylus Prometheus Bound, where Io encounters Prometheus, she refers to herself as the Horned Virgin, both bovine and lunar. In popular culture, in the 2010 film Clash of the Titans, Io was portrayed by British actress Gemma Arterton. The character was a major deviation from Greek mythology. Instead of being Zeus' lover, she was portrayed as a guide to Perseus. her transformation into a cow was also not mentioned. Instead, she was cursed with agelessness for refusing a god's romantic advances. Despite confirming her return for Wrath of the Titans in September 2010, Arterton did not reprise her role for unknown reasons. Instead, it is revealed that Io died shortly before the beginning of the sequel, as Perseus is seen placing stones on her grave. Australian writer Ursula Dubosarski's play The Girl Who Was Turned Into a Cow, first published in the NSW School magazine, is based on the myth of Io. In Persona 3, Io is the starting persona of Yokari Take Bang. Notes. External links: Thoi.com, Io Naiad Nymph of Argolis and Egypt assembles the essential references in Greek and Latin literature, in translation. Io engravings by Gulsius from the De Verda collection, Warburg Institute Iconographic Database.